we've seen this statement manifesting that there are no permanent friends or enemies in politics, only interests align. Are you open to working with Raila Odinga, the broad-based partner of President William Ruto?
I am open to working with anybody who means well for this country. And I want to take this opportunity to tell the supporters of Raila Odinga from Nyanza that they should not fight the mountain people, because we are not their enemies at all. We have a problem with President William Ruto. We have no problem with Raila Odinga and ODM. I saw after Raila Odinga lost the AUC elections, some people from Rift Valley, supporters of the president, and some supporters of Raila Odinga trying to blame the mountain people for the loss by the very simple fact some 6-7 women in Karatina Market had celebrated the loss. First and foremost, the Mount Kenya people did not have a vote at the AUC. In fact, our only participation in that election as people of Mount Kenya is that the man we made president had a vote. And if he did vote for Raila Odinga, as he says, then the people of Mount Kenya supported the candidature of Raila Odinga. We have no problem with Raila Odinga. I've had a lot of consultations with the people from the mountain. In fact, I have done almost 400 meetings in the last 4 months.
And we'll get to that.
And the people of that area have asked me to look for friends. And we are open to working with anybody who means well for this country. You know?
But we're talking about a man you decampaigned vigorously in the previous election. A man who mobilized his MPs to vote against you through the impeachment.
The voting against me by ODM people is neither here nor there. The person who orchestrated the impeachment is William Ruto. That's the person we have a problem with. He deceived the ODM people the way he deceived all us in the mountain. And for the record, we, for many years, had problems with Raila Odinga because he had been demonized as somebody who is against the mountain people. In 2020, President Uhuru Kenyatta convinced us that Raila Odinga is a good man. But President William Ruto, then Deputy President, convinced us that Raila is a bad man, he's a witch doctor, he is a lot of poverty, he means bad for this country, and William Ruto admittedly was more persuasive than Uhuru Kenyatta.
But you're on record saying this.
I'm just saying,
come on.
He persuaded us, and after he became president, he looked for Raila Odinga and he said he's a good man. So, Raila Odinga has been claimed by everybody. President Uhuru Kenyatta said he's a good man. William Ruto, who told us he's a witch doctor, who told us he's a lot of poverty, who told us he has no plan, who told us he is randaress, who told us he's planless, today is singing praises for him as the best leader, not just for Kenya, but for Africa. So, we refused to vote for Raila Odinga, not because he was a very bad man, but William Ruto convinced us he's bad. Again, I must say that Raila Odinga was a victim of our community's distaste for betrayal. We felt that Uhuru Kenyatta had betrayed William Ruto by looking for Raila Odinga. So because we hate betrayal, we decided to punish Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta at the same time. But still 1.1 million people from our region voted for Raila Odinga. But now that William Ruto has betrayed us, knowing very well that he is a beneficiary of our community's distaste for betrayal, we are through with him. So Raila Odinga is there. He has not betrayed us. He has not done anything so grave, you know, that in our view makes it impossible for us to work together. But I have heard him say that he's going to consult very widely and he'll say the way forward. If he wants to be president, he can talk to us. We don't have a problem. And I also want to tell Raila Odinga and his supporters, I know I am not qualified to advise him, but from my working with President William Ruto, myself and my community, let them be very careful. I have heard them promise him to be Prime Minister. That is a lie, it's conmanship. There is no such position available in this country because it's not there in the Constitution. For you to create the position of Prime Minister, it means you have to change the structure of government. You would have to go for a referendum.
Yes.
Today, if there is a referendum, it will be a referendum against the leadership of President William Ruto. And you will lose in the morning. So that position of Prime Minister is not available.
So who's playing who?
No, William Ruto is playing Raila Odinga. Let me tell you. There is no such position. So it's just a con. Number two, I think, to be fair to Raila Odinga, I think he has risen above that position of Prime Minister. The man has wanted to be president 5 times. He now wanted to be the chairman of the African Union Commission. I think taking him back to the position of Prime Minister is a bit demeaning. In my view, the former Prime Minister has 2 options, in my view. I cannot advise him. I cannot pretend I have the capacity to advise him. He either retires in dignity or he goes for the presidency. Because there is no way you can ask for the presidency for 5 times and then you demean yourself, you want to become a Prime Minister. No. I think that will be very, it will be very, very demeaning. But again, finally,
yes.
I want to ask my brother, President William Ruto. Now that you say this man is a witch doctor, he's the Lord of Poverty, he is the real problem of this country, you have changed your mind, you are saying he is the best for Africa, he means well for this country. Why don't you, if you are genuine, consider to do 1 term and endorse him to be president in the next election? If you really genuine that this man is so good, this man can sort out this country, if really that is from the bottom of your hand, of your heart, since you have done 5 years, you are going to do 5 years and you have not done very well, why don't you consider to allow this man to be president? So what I would like to say is that in my discussions with the people, we have, by the way, I must tell you in those discussions, if you want me to tell you.
And we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
Yes.
But I'm saying we are not opposed to working with Raila Odinga.
You're willing to
already we are working with Kalonzo Musyoka. We are working with Eugene Wamalwa. We are working with Fred Matiang'i. We are working with Eugene Wamalwa. We are working with all like-minded Kenyans. If Raila Odinga does not make a decision to destroy his legacy and support President William Ruto and decides to join the rest of Kenyans in trying to liberate our country and get it back in the right footing, and calls upon us for a discussion on the possibility of working together in whatever formation.
You're open to that? We
are open to that discussion. We are not selfish people. By the way, myself and my community are on record having supported somebody else. William Ruto, he's not one of us. Today he's calling us tribalists, despite the fact that we supported him, knowing very well he's not one of us. And because we are not tribal, we supported him, and he became president. We also are amiable and ready, if need be, to support another person, maybe it Raila Odinga, maybe it Kalonzo, maybe Wamalwa. We can support anybody, and whoever we decide to support. And take it from me today, and you'll ask me 2 years from now. Whoever we decide to support, we have 2 options. We can have our own candidate from the mountain, and we are good. If we decide for whatever reason that it's better to support somebody else, whoever we decide to support, that will be the next president of the Republic of Kenya.
Okay, time will tell. You said you're open to working with like-minded individuals.
Yes.
Have you had a meeting with former President Uhuru Kenyatta? Did you bury the hatchet? Because there's some who still point fingers at you, blaming you for the push and pull after the current Kenya Kwanza administration came to office, that perhaps the raid at his farm might have been orchestrated by Rigathi Gachagua. Have you had a meeting with the former head of state ever since you were impeached?
You know, Uhuru Kenyatta is my elder brother. I was his PA, and he's our leader as a community.
Okay.
It is inappropriate for me to discuss him in public because I'm a junior elder in the community, he's a senior elder, and discussions of elders in our community is a preserve of that community.
We're just asking if you met him. Come on. You're
What
a
I'm
truthful
saying,
man.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that Uhuru Kenyatta is our brother, our son, and our leader. And he's retired, and we respect his status and his retirement. But when we need advice from him as a community, it's always available.
So let me rephrase the question. What do you tell those who see former President Uhuru Kenyatta's hand in the appointment of Uhuru's men, as they're commonly referred to, some of the CSs we saw recently appointed, Mutahi Kagwe, Liki Nyanjui?
There's no problem whether Uhuru had a hand or no hand. It, to me, is irrelevant. And he's a Kenyan. If he proposes some people to be appointed and they are appointed, so be it. What is important for us, especially for the mountain, is that those appointments amounted to nothing, because they were meant to pacify the region that is very unhappy with the President William Ruto for deceiving them, for mismanaging the economy, and for destroying leaders in the region. And immediately they were appointed, there was a saying among our people,
Okay.
that even if you revive Mwai Kibaki, Jomo Kenyatta, and Dedan Kimathi, nothing would change. So we are really not bothered. Let them go and work. They have been given a job to do. Let them go and do the job that were given to do. We wish them well. If they can make a change and people of Kenya are better off than they were before they were appointed, we appreciate. They are our sons.
All right.
And we don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why the delay in forming your political party? Because going by your own timelines, we were supposed to have that launch early this year. It was pushed, and now we expect that launch in May. Are you having challenges in registering?
No challenges at all.
Yeah.
I had, you know, when I left office, the people of my region felt that we needed to consult on the way forward, because as a community we felt very bad. The community felt totally misused by President William Ruto. They felt deceived, and we needed to consult extensively. And as their leader, they asked me to do that consultation. And I did a lot of consultation, the whole of November, the whole of December. I had hoped that I would have completed the consultations, but I hadn't by the end of December. Very many people still wanted to come and see me. You have seen even in the whole of January and February, they have been coming. Again, when we started the consultations, I had thought it would be a Mount Kenya affair, but I had not appreciated the interest my leadership had created in the country. And many other Kenyans from all other regions also wanted to consult with me, and therefore we had to extend our negotiations. But be as it may, our political party is ready, and for strategic reasons, I did not want to unveil it before.
Right.
Because quite a number of our senators and members of parliament want to resign from UDA and join our new party and go for by-elections. So we thought, my people thought that for us to get the right momentum, it's better for us to launch the party when IBC is in place. I want to give that reason now, because I've got quite a number of people who are through with UDA. They don't want anything to do with UDA.
Just from the mountain?
Especially from the mountain, because the whole mountain has moved from UDA. By the way, UDA now is a shell. UDA was Rigiji at the mountain. Without Rigiji at the mountain, there's no UDA. There's no party there. And our members, our supporters, in fact, if you mention UDA, and you have found even the MPs who move around with the president, they don't talk about UDA. Even the president, they don't mention him on the ground. So we decided that we want to wait for the IBC to be constituted. Then we launch our party so that we pick up with the momentum. We'll have several by-elections. We have today, as of today, 139 MCAs who want to resign from UDA and go for by-elections. We have.
So you're going to force a by-election.
We are going to have
that's
a
simply
little.
what you're saying.
We are going to force a little general election after IBC is constituted, because our people do not want to live a lie. The mountain people, my brother Rogers, are honest people. They are people of integrity, and they don't know how to pretend. When they are through with something, they are through. And when they want to move on, they want to move on. So we have senators, we have members of parliament, we have MCAs who cannot pretend that they are in UDA.
And are they the
And they will repeat what Raila did in 1994. And I admire Raila Odinga because I remember 1994. He left Ford Kenya and went to NDP, and he resigned and he was re-elected. And since that time, his career has been very rosy. Even I'm encouraging my MCAs, MPs and senators, the ones who make that very brave decision, because that is very courageous. To leave a seat you have been elected, you resign and go back to the people. It's very courageous. But I want to assure them, the way I'm listening to our people, any leader who makes that decision will be re-elected without a doubt, with very serious majority. Number two, they will be heroes of our people. And their politics will be rosy for decades and decades to come. So that is one of the reasons why we have delayed. But I want to say our party is ready. Okay. And I want to correct, I have seen a lot of people trying to say that our party is for the region, for Mount Kenya. It isn't. It's a national party. By the way, I have a lot of people who are interested in joining our party. And the mountain will have a home in that party. But it's a national party for everybody. But that will be the home of the mountain. Just like ODM is a serious party, but is the home of the Nyanza people. Ford Kenya is a serious national party, but is also the home of people from Bungoma and Trans Nzoia. You know, Wiper is a national party, but is also the home of the people of Ukambani. Okay. That's the way politics move, because politics are local. And our interim national chairman is from Kajiado County. Our interim national organizing secretary is from Machakos. Our interim deputy party leader is from Kakamega. Our interim assistant national treasurer is from Kuria in Migori. Ours is a serious national party. I'm the party leader. Okay. It's a serious national party, yeah. But it's the home of the mountain, and that brings in serious numbers, which is good for the party. Because the mountain, you know, we have 6-7 million voters, so it's good for the party to have a base that is strong as part of the national movement. But we are very serious movement. We are very serious following in Kajiado, in Narok, in Samburu, okay, in Kakamega, in Kisii. We are a serious national party. But
then tell me this: have you thought of the implications on the taxpayer if you instigate a by-election? Isn't that a selfish move?
It's not selfish at all. We just have to be honest. We don't want to pretend to belong where we don't feel comfortable. President William Ruto has hatched a plot to finish us as a people, to destroy our leaders, to destroy our businesses. We cannot pretend. The other day, he chased away our chairman of committees in the Senate and replaced them with ODM people. How do we then pretend? How does the senator of Nyandarua, who was a chairman of a committee, has been removed and replaced somebody from ODM, pretend that he loves UDA?
So to hell with the taxpayers because of these leaders.
There are many other things that money is being spent, and probably it is not a priority. Okay. So we are saying we need to fix our politics. There is no way you are going to chase away people who got you elected on UDA party and expect them to remain there to support you. They will not. Those people will move on and they will go for a by-election and they will be elected. They will come back to parliament on another party that respects them. But you cannot mistreat people. You mistreat them. You treat them like rubbish, like toilet paper. They helped you be president. They helped you to form the government. Then you use that very government to punish them, to mistreat them, and then expect them to continue staying in UDA and pretending that they are very happy and that they love you and that they are comfortable.
Okay.
That is deceit.
Okay.
We don't want politics of deceit and command.
Interesting. Let's go to Wamunyoro. We might not be in Wamunyoro, but the essence seems to be here. Because needless to say, you've managed to quickly convert your Wamunyoro home into a new center of power, meeting dignitaries, defectors, and planning your next move. But as we witness heightened activity in your Wamunyoro home, you've mentioned up to 400 meetings. That's in 4 months, so each month 100 meetings thereabout. Your critics argue that you're slowly reintroducing the culture of kingmaker in Mount Kenya region, that you would go to the lengths of decampaigning Mount Kenya political leaders. And mind you, it's not based on how they've served the people in their constituencies, in their counties. It's simply based on their political affiliation.
Well, to start with, there is no crime in being a kingmaker. Politics is about kingmaking. If Rigathi Gachagua and the mountain will be the kingmaker in the next election, so be it. There's nothing wrong. And by the way, we'll be king or kingmaker, either way. And there's nothing wrong about that. That is politics, and it's the practicality of Kenyan politics. Number two, there's nothing about Wamunyoro. Wamunyoro is just my home. It's simply I've shifted the base from the official residence of the deputy president to Wamunyoro. I was removed from office, but my followers went with me. So I'm still a leader with a serious weight in the country. And that is why they troop to Wamunyoro. And nobody comes for money there. They bring food, they bring goats, they bring chicken, they bring bananas. They come to see their leader and consult with him.
Okay.
You know, William Ruto had cheated the MPs from Mount Kenya region that once I'm removed from office, in 2-3 weeks I'll be forgotten. I think he must be having a shock of his life because he didn't understand our people. He was not one of us. We elected him. At a certain point, he imagined he is the leader of the mountain. And I tried to talk to him. I thought, you are not the leader of the mountain. You are just a beneficiary of the mountain's people destined for betrayal. They just voted for you because they felt you had been betrayed. And because they hate betrayal, they voted for you and followed you. But you are not their leader. I'm their leader. And he couldn't take it. And he thought that he would get rid of me and life would just continue. But the entire mountain left with me and followed me to Wamunyoro. That's why you find the places of beehive of activities. The meetings you see in social media are the few that we report. There are many other meetings. You know ourselves, we are descendants of the Mau Mau struggle. We are very secretive people. We do meetings, many meetings have been done, and very serious decisions have been made by the community of how we proceed going forward.
What decisions are this?
One, the decisions have been made. One, that we are through with the President William Ruto for 5 reasons. One, he has betrayed the mountain. Number 2, he deceived us that he will work for us, he will do our projects, he will fix the economy, he'll make sure business is thriving. He has done the exact opposite. He has destroyed the health system. SHA is not working, patients are suffering. Today,
We'll get to
the
that.
private hospitals have discontinued that program. The university financing model, he destroyed it. University students are at home.
Okay.
The economy is destroyed. Overtaxation, destruction of business, evictions, demolitions. Really, the country has come to a standstill. Again, one or another reason is that when the mountain started moving out from President William Ruto, he activated a criminal gang that was very notorious in the Mount Kenya region in circumcising women, beheading children, raping young girls. He activated that group in the mountain to cause problems, and the people are very bitter with that. Again, another issue that people are very bitter is the introduction of alcoholic illicit brews in the region that I, as deputy president, had successfully dealt with. And because of those reasons, and the most recent one that has really, annoyed the people of that region is his deliberate scheme to mobilize other communities against the mountain. You remember when he was in Mount Elgon, one of the MPs, one of his people, Wanyama, he told him to say that all other communities will gang up against the mountain people and isolate them. And since he spoke last, yet he claims every day that he's uniting the country. He never admonished him. You know, again, he has been using abusive language against the people of Kenya. That has really annoyed the people, calling people stupid, you know, saying they are possessed by demons, you know, and you know, lacking respect for the people. And the people who made him president, the mountain people, because their vote was very decisive, it was 43%. He has turned against them, so they are through with them. So what they have told me in those consultations is that we must be in the next government through two methods. One, to consolidate our votes to 8 million votes and look for other friends and have a presidential candidate from the mountain. If we find the numbers are okay, we proceed. If we find the numbers are not okay, because this politics is a game of mathematics, we are not selfish. We are willing to work with other people, you know. And Raila Odinga has been mentioned as a possible person we can work with. Kalonzo Musyoka has been mentioned. Eugene Wamalwa has been mentioned. Natebe has been mentioned. Even Matiang'i has been mentioned. And we are looking at all those options. And they have mandated me as their leader to continue engaging with everybody and come up with a formula, you know, where the mountain people will be in government through their political party. This time, you know, President William Ruto deceived me, and I joined him with my people without a political vehicle, and he shortchanged us, mistreated us, and he continues to do so. So we are going to have a political party with the mountain people and other Kenyans to engage everybody else.
All right.
And in fact, I was looking at it the other day with a few strategists from the region. And if we agree to support Kalonzo Musyoka, if we don't think we have the numbers, our first priority is that we are going to have a presidential candidate from the mountain, and we'll appeal to other Kenyans to support us. If we find it's not feasible, we'll support others. Kalonzo is an option. We looked at his numbers, our numbers and other numbers, and it's doable. Raila's is even more exciting, yeah, because Raila already has 6.8 million. We only beat him by 200,000 votes. If we agree to support him, we could. I told you it's a possibility. With the 6.8 plus our 6, I've looked at his voting pattern. He normally votes between 10 and 11 a.m. If we agree to support him, before he votes, he'll be president. That you can take to the bank.
Okay.
We are looking at the Mulembe Nation.
Okay.
Their numbers are huge. A presidential candidate from the Mulembe Nation, supported by the Mulembe Nation when they are united. And I told them, I addressed them through the FM station. I said, Mulembe Nation, please unite. If the Mulembe Nation united and they have a candidate and we from the mountain supported them, they'll be president by 12 o'clock. The same with Matiang'i. So those are the discussions. And I want to confirm to the people of Kenya that we, the mountain people, are not selfish. We are very selfless. We will do anything for this country. If we feel that we need to support somebody else so that this country can be saved from the recklessness that is there, we will do it. We are on record that we have supported another candidate from another area, William Ruto, in a very difficult election, and he became president.
So can you support William Ruto again? Is that
no, William Ruto, we cannot support him. We are done with him. And it's also not good for the country.
I have to take you back because I asked you, why are you making sure that you decampaign members of parliament, not based on their track record, but because of their allegiance, their political allegiance?
I am not decampaigning anybody for whatever reason. The mountain people hate betrayal. Ask William Ruto, he's a beneficiary of the community's district for betrayal. But they are even more angry when they are betrayed by their own. The community has told me It's not me. Me, I don't have a problem, by the way. I'm a very forgiving man. I'm a very staunch Christian. My wife here is a pastor, and she talks to me about forgiveness all the time. And she doesn't allow me to have a bitterness. She makes sure that I'm always amiable and open to forgive anybody.
Okay.
All those people who were against me, I've forgiven them. But they were also against the community. They made sure the community is embarrassed. The community became the laughing stock of other communities. When other communities are running behind their own, them, for cheap money, they betray their own community. The community has an issue with them. It's not me. And if they come to me and persuade me that they'll work for the best interest of the community and the country, I am willing to take them along.
So if your people tell you
but they have
to work
a job
with President William Ruto,
but they have a job, the people have already told me they don't want. Okay. Already, I've consulted them and I asked them.
Oh, okay.
I asked them, can I work with William Ruto? They said no. He has betrayed us. It's over.
That's it.
He cannot. We don't. Betrayal in my community is a taboo. It's an abomination. It is never forgiven. It is punished. And I can tell you, many people that I've talked to will will be on the queue at 3 a.m. not to vote for anybody, but to vote somebody out. So those MPs,
yeah,
let them go and talk to the people, not me. I have no problem against them. Let them go and convince the people who elected them that they'll work for their best interest, that they will not put their stomachs first, that they will not be used by William Ruto against the community. Because what is annoying the community is when the president has put people together in a meeting to abuse the community and call them tribalists and call them stupid and call them primitive. Members of parliament and senate from our area normally clap for him. Our people are very bitter because of that one. So if they can go and convince the people that they mean well, that they have reformed, that they will not betray them, that they have changed their character, that they can be relied upon to defend them and their interests, fine. Yesterday I was in Meru. Mother Kome is being fought by the president. The senator is not speaking. The MPs are not speaking. People are bitter. People are livid. And they are waiting for them in 2027. Because they are saying, how can our daughter be ostracized? And you are there clapping for the man who is doing that, and you are doing nothing about it. So, and other communities don't do that. And they are saying, they have noted, they looked at what happened in the defense of Wetangula by the people of Western. They looked at how Nurdin Haji was defended by the people from Northeastern Province. Yeah, okay. But the people of the mountain, the president is using them against their own people by paying them small money. So they have a big problem with the people, not with me.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not me who is campaigning them. It is the people who tell me we want nothing to do with those characters. Who am I? Me, I'm a servant of the people. I listen to the people.
Okay, well noted. So you seem to hint that perhaps a grand coalition like NAC in 2002 might be in the offing. How do you ensure all your interests are aligned? Because if you fool me once, shame on me. If you fool me twice, shame on you.
That's why I'm developing
a political.
And I'm happy. In fact, this is God sent. I have 2 years. I have time to craft a very serious political party. And by the way, I do admire Raila Odinga and ODM. We may have had problems with Raila Odinga, but give it to him. He crafted a very serious political machine that has been there for 20 years. Again, the quality of leaders that are elected at the ODM is admirable. In fact, I will be going to ODM for benchmarking. I must talk to Raila Odinga. I must ask him, how did you craft this machine? How have you kept it going for 20 years? ODM is admirable. So I have 2 years to craft a very serious political machine. I'll make sure that in whatever coalition we go with whoever, our interests are well anchored through a watertight agreement, so that again nobody will ever deceive us. Okay. We are all feeling very foolish as a people. In fact, one of the burden that I carry that is very heavy on me, that sometimes weighs me down, is just how foolish I feel at times. that I was deceived by Ruto. Because he was a Christian, he came with the Bible, I believed him. I never even asked we sign anything. I was so naive, I was so trusting. I sometimes it weighs me down, I cry at night. How foolish would I have been? And I'm a student of political science. But we say once bitten, twice shy. This time we'll be careful. I have very serious elders who advise me. I have very serious former civil servants who advise me. I have professionals, I take advice because I made wrong decisions and I sank my people into shame. I sank my people into desperation. God giving me another chance. I will not repeat that mistake. It's a commitment that I've given to my people that I'll be very, very careful in whatever arrangement I get into. It must be watertight. I must have very proper professional advice by lawyers, by people who have been in politics.
Okay. And
that consultation is going on day and night. You know, I sleep past midnight every day. I consult and I'll continue consulting. And from next week now, I'm consulting other regions because we want to work with the people of Kenya. Forget about what people say that I'm tribal. You know Rogers, eh?
And don't say politics is local.
Politics is local. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. How do you go to organize your neighbor's house when yours is in disorder? You first organize your house, your wife, your children. You make sure you are talking the same language. Then you go and visit the neighbor. But you cannot leave your house. Your wife is sleeping in a different bedroom. Your children are not talking to each other. Then you are going to the neighbor to tell them how they should stay together as a family. So I needed first to put my house in order. That's what a clever politician does. And I have done that successfully. Okay. Now that I have completed the unity of my people. And by the way, the president tried to divide Mount Kenya East and West. I stopped him and I'll never allow him. It will never happen. And that is why Embu is a no-go zone for him. And that is Mount Kenya East. You know, he sends condolence messages there, they are rejected. And that is Mount Kenya East because the mountain people are clever and they know their strength is their unity. So now that I have more or less completed 98% uniting my people to speak the same language, to have a single political party that is strong, now we are reaching out to other Kenyans, like-minded Kenyans, so that we can work together. Do you think you will shake off that regional tag, that tribalist tag? I don't need to shake it because it's not a bad tag. It's an identity. I'm Kikuyu, so but I did not apply to be born a Kikuyu. I did not apply to be born a Kikuyu. There is no crime I've committed by being Kikuyu. And there's no crime I'll commit by loving my people. There's no crime I'll commit by asking our people that we be united, because that's what all other people are doing. But it is only bad when it's done by the mountaineers. But when the Western people come together, that is regional integration. But to those who question your ability to rise above regional politics, to lead a country from a national point of view, not a regional point of view, well, what do you tell them? Rogers, I want to ask you, when I called a press conference in Mombasa to divide the Gen Z when William Ruto and the government were killing them, those Gen Z, were they Kikuyu? They were the children of Kenya. That is nationalism. When I was deputy president, I made sure that people of northeastern Kenya, nobody died from hunger. I have been to Mandera, to Wajir, to Garissa, distributing food, making sure the people of those regions are secure. When I defend the payslip holders, you know the payslip holders, their payslips have been impeached by William Ruto. They are very helpless. Their purchasing power has been eroded, and that is why the economy is crumbling. Because when you erode the payslip, that's the middle class, you diminish their purchasing power, then nothing goes on. There's no money in circulation. And I am saying we must form a government to rescue the payslip. We must dignify the payslip. And when we form the new government, one of the things that we must do, and whoever wants to be in coalition with me and my people, one of the things we must agree is that we must do away with housing levy, because it's not the business of government to build houses. It's a business of government to build roads, to provide water, electricity connectivity, to make sure there is a good working health system, to ensure people have security. That's the work of government. So these are some of the things we are going to do. So when I talk about the payslip holders, are those Kikuyus? They are the people of Kenya. My national credentials are good. It is only that President William Ruto has tried to create a narrative to kill my brand by branding me as tribal. Yet when I was supporting him, when I was mobilizing the Gema nation to support him, he used to call me all sorts of good names. He was fond of me. He would say how good I am, how people-centered I am. It's only when we don't agree, he says I'm a tribalist. This tribal tag that people try to put to me is a creation of William Ruto. Just the way he convinced us that Raila is a witch doctor. He's a lot of poverty. Now that they are with Raila, he has now zeroed in on Rigathi Gachagua as a tribalist. He says I'm primitive, I'm retrogressive, I'm incompetent. He is very good with words, you know, and he's very persuasive. He's very abusive. You remember the abuses he gave against William Ruto. Those are the same now abuses he is targeting me. Every election he must have a target. Last election, the object of hatred created by William Ruto was Raila Odinga. He's a witch doctor. He doesn't go to church. He is the Lord of poverty. He is clueless. He has no plan. Now, this coming election of 2027, the whole game plan is Rigathi Gachagua. He's a tribalist. Oh, ni mtu wa shares. Huyu ni nini. But people are also very intelligent. People are very intelligent.
Okay.
And they know now what they can trust and what they cannot trust. You know, you can fool some people sometime,
But not all the people.
but you cannot fool all the people all the time. People have known William Ruto now.
Okay.
He's been unmasked. Those insults he gives against people, nobody now can believe him because he's the one who told us Raila is a witch doctor. Today, 2 years down the line, he is saying Raila is the best man in Africa. So whatever he says now has no value, you know. If in the unfortunate event, God forbid,
Okay.
I went back to William Ruto and we patched up, he would now say Rigathi Gachagua is a nationalist. And now he's saying today I'm tribal. I am not tribal. That is a tag that William Ruto has tried to put on me, and in the fullness of time, the people of Kenya will know who Rigathi Gachagua is. They will know what I believe in. And many people, by the way, believe me because I'm truthful. In difficult circumstances, when this country was burning, when the president said Gen Zs are criminals, is Rigathi Gachagua who called a press conference and said, no, these are our children, they are our sons and daughters, and they should not be killed, they should not be abducted, they should be listened to.
Since we have adequate time till 11 p.m., I just want to take you back to your sentiments about Raila Odinga, because in the event you choose to support Raila Odinga, what makes you think you'll succeed where Uhuru failed? Persuading the mountain to vote for him.
I don't know. Well, let's cross the bridge when we reach there. Does Raila Odinga wants to be president or he wants to support William Ruto? I think let's leave that discussion to when Raila Odinga has made up his mind. If he decides he wants to be president, then we can have that conversation. I think right now it is premature to talk about his candidature because we are not sure. I'm listening to Ruto people saying that he'll support Ruto. I'm listening to some ODM people whom the president has paid. And the president is very good in dividing people. And let me tell the ODM people, the same way he tried to divide the mountain, he's going to divide ODM. And you can see already some ODM characters who are being paid are already dividing ODM. You can find there is one section in ODM that is supporting William Ruto. There is another one of Akina Sifuna, Orengo, Anyang, who are talking a different language. I see very serious attempt by the president to divide ODM. And you know, one time I asked him, when we were pushing Baba to go to African Union, and we were talking. We were not good friends, but we were talking. We would have a conversation. And I asked him, this Raila thing you are pushing, what's the head game? He said, fine, we want this Mzee to go to AU so that I can take over his block. I said, how will you take it up? He said, let's do DM, I'll finish it, I'll destroy it, I'll take it over. And once Baba is gone, I'll have a few days. I'll get the MPs, everybody rally them behind me. That's what he told me then. And I think if Baba went, to a certain extent, he would have succeeded in dividing ODM. I don't think that is possible now, because I think Raila Odinga has built ODM for 20 years. I don't think, even if he wants to work with William Ruto, he'll allow him to destroy ODM. I think he'll still want to have ODM as a strong party. And if he wants to have a coalition with William Ruto, he would have ODM as a distinct political entity. What I would not understand is at what he would be in that coalition, because Raila's dream has been to be president. And by his status, even age, experience, exposure, he's presidential. I don't know what other role he would play in a coalition with William Ruto, but that's his decision. Once he makes a decision what he wants, then we can have that discussion. But I think it's premature now to because we don't know. Because I hear a lot of Kaluma, Junet, those they are saying that they are backing William Ruto. So I think it's premature to discuss whether he can be supported or not, because he has not decided what he wants. Once he decides and he says he is a candidate, then we'll sit with Kalonzo, we'll sit with Wamalwa, we'll sit with Natebea, Matiang'i, myself and others, and we look at the whole scenario. And whatever suits Kenya, I want to, from my end, I'm very selfless. So is my community. Whatever suits Kenya, whatever formula that can work to restore this country, to bring back our country, to fix our economy, to fix our foreign relations. As we speak, we are in very bad state. And even, by the way, we had a very good candidate for the AU seat, Raila Odinga. But the president buggered it, by the way. You know, and I feel for Raila Odinga. And by the way, I wished him well. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really wanted him to be the AUC chairman so that he can have a dignified exit. This is a man who has gone through hell. He has been in detention for 8 years. He almost lost his family. He's a man who has really struggled. He was championed the second liberation. He has fought for democracy. He was very instrumental in the 2010 constitution. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, felt that if he became the AUC chair, it was a very dignified exit for a man who has given his life for this country. It didn't work because the government buggered it. By the way, had President William Ruto kept off that campaign, Raila would have been elected.
All right.
The minute he made, you know, people hate projects, not just here in the country, but even in Africa and the world. Raila Odinga was perceived to be a William Ruto project to take him to the AU to sort out his political problems in Kenya. And therefore, many African presidents had a problem with that, from what we gather. They said, we don't want William Ruto to dump Raila in AU to sort out his problems at home. So many people had a problem with that. Again, they were also not able to study the geopolitics in a proper manner and see how to handle them. Then the way the president handled the DRC issue, he rubbed many people the wrong way. Again, I don't know who advised these people. There was no need to take a cheering squad to Addis Ababa. You know, this election is a highly diplomatic maneuver, you know, whispering to the ears of presidents, because it was very demeaning to African presidents to think that you can persuade them to vote for Raila Odinga by bringing a cheering squad, singing Bado Mapambano outside the hall. I mean, it was very demeaning to African presidents.
So that was a diplomatic blunder.
It was a diplomatic blunder.
Okay.
This guy who won came with only 4 people. Because these are presidents, these are people who make decisions based on many facts. You cannot persuade them by cheering, by bringing a crowd to sing around there and all that. And even many diplomats were very offended by Kenya, by the kind of show that they took there to Addis. So the way that thing was handled, they goofed in a very big way.
Since you're talking about diplomacy, I have to reel you into the predicament that Kizza Besigye is facing. And not just that. Recently, we've seen the Rapid Support Forces sort of mince their words in terms of whether they're forming a parallel government in Kenya, or whether they're simply here to seek unity for the betterment of their country. What do you make of the diplomatic
I think
fix-fuss?
in all fairness, President William Ruto has messed this country in the international eye. He's doing all the wrong things. We have a policy of non-interference with the affairs of other countries. We cannot allow rebels who have been slapped with international sanctions because of the genocide to meet in government facilities in Nairobi. You have heard Sudan now is threatening to stop our tea going to Sudan. And what is happening is that the president has put his personal and commercial interests ahead of the country's interests. That's the problem that we have. They are doing business with the RSF chief of gold that is being gotten from that area, brought to Nairobi and taken to Dubai.
And you can substantiate
Yes,
this?
I can. I have one time, and diplomatically, the president cannot invite Hamed here because he was vice president. And he asked me to invite him on his behalf. And he called me and said, sign this letter, invite Hamed here because I want to have a discussion.
When was this?
Sometime, 2023.
Okay.
And I did invite Hamedi and welcomed him and delivered him to the president. There was nothing about Kenya. They were just discussing business, about gold, about such other things.
You were in that meeting?
No, I introduced him and then I was told to leave
Then
because it had nothing to do with Kenya.
How do you know this then?
No, I'm saying if it had anything to do with Kenya, I would have sat through the meeting. But I'm the one who, after they were through, I'm the one who took him to the airport and I inquired and they are doing business. So it is putting Kenya in very bad light. Very, very bad light. And President William Ruto must accept that he will not be president forever. He cannot destroy this country and the way we are perceived by other nations. He must be a nationalist. He must rise above personal and commercial interests and put the country first. That group has been flagged by the international community and sanctions have been slapped against them for genocide and killing of children. But again, thinking about it, there's a saying that birds of the same feather flock together. They are killing children in Sudan, we are killing children here. So again, there's convergence. I think birds of the same feather flock together. But we are looking very bad. DRC, we have handled it very badly. And in fact, I am told many African presidents are unwilling to get involved in peace initiatives led by President William Ruto because he is conflicted in terms of personal and commercial interests that he has put above national interests.
All right, let's come back to the country. I'd like your take on the formation of IEBC because there seems to be progress after quite some time. Perhaps start off with telling us your take. Was a delay in formation of the IEBC by design or by default? Thereafter, what do you make of the process? Is it above par?
The delay was by design. President William Ruto wanted the conclusion of the AUC bid before IBC can be formed because the changes that were made in parliament, there is participation of political parties. He wanted to be certain that they are on the same side with the Raila Odinga so that they can agree on the formation of an IBC commissioners that are friendly. He wanted to know whether Raila is on his side or not. So that is why that delay was there. And he's the one who was sponsoring those court cases to keep the delay going on. But I think after the international community raised the issues, he reluctantly allowed it to go on. I think now AUC has been, the AUC is concluded. I think even the discussions in Mombasa is trying to see whether he can be on the same side with Raila Odinga, so that probably if they are on the same side, they can agree on the commissioners that will be appointed. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Just take you back to the matters of diplomacy. Now that the United States is withdrawing its funds because President Donald Trump seems to put America first, can we survive on our own?
It's not easy. Those programs, especially on health, by USAID, were very, very, very important for our people. And those were serious funds that were coming into the country is a very serious gap. And you know already we are struggling. Our economy is struggling even to fund, to support our budget, on the current and development expenditures. So the withdrawal of those funds for those interventions, especially in the health sector, is quite a serious beating to the country. I must tell the people of Kenya, we are having a difficult time, and we just have to tighten our belts. Things will be quite thick as we move on, but we just have to struggle and see what to make out of it.
Okay, well noted. I'd like to bring your focus to matters that are facing the Kenyan public.
Yes.
You've already talked about the withdrawal of the rural and urban private hospitals, yes, offering SHA services. I think they mentioned that they'll only offer emergency services. Apart from that, they're withdrawing services from SHA due to that figure, the NHIF arrears that haven't been paid till date. And it's not just that. There are a couple of issues still in the education sector. And recently you mentioned that, the State House at Nairobi is the epicenter of corruption. So talk to us about this in light of the challenges we're facing. What's the solution? We're not here to whine, we're here to provide solutions as well.
Rogers, President William Ruto said that he is a PhD holder. And the rest of us who don't have PhD should not tell him anything. I had some discussion with some people yesterday on Saturday night in Meru. And they were wondering if this is where PhD has reached us as a country, whether there is any need for anybody to ever aspire to have a PhD. All systems are destroyed. The health system has collapsed. Today, the private hospitals have withdrawn from SHA, and they normally take care of 47% of the country. So where do those people who go to the mission hospitals go? And this SHA thing was rushed because of corruption. The whole genesis of this program and why it was pushed down the throats of the people of Kenya without proper and adequate preparation was because of conflict of interest. There is a system, a management system for the SHIF program that is costing 104 billion Kenya shillings. That is the gist. That is money that people are taking, people in government. More than 80% of that money will go to people's pockets. The NHIF had proposed that they only needed 700 million to upgrade their system, to manage the health system. Okay? So what has happened because of this corruption? There's a nation called Jayesh. He's the one who is behind this thing. He works with Adani on behalf of people in government. Because of that, the program was rushed without being thought through. There are people who are owed money by NHIF. Nobody talked to them. We just migrated to a new program without thinking through what it is. When we were campaigning, we had promised the people of Kenya that the ordinary Kenyans who are paying 500 shillings, we will take it to 300. What has happened is that nobody can afford this system, and the system itself is not working. So, a government that cannot have a working health system, I'm actually happy to be out of this government. I would be very embarrassed if I was deputy president. Today, I would be very embarrassed. When I meet old women and they ask me, you are the deputy president, we had a working health system before you took over. 2 years down the line, the system has collapsed. What are you? Who are you? I will be very embarrassed. In fact, sometimes I sleep here, I wake up at night, I'm happy I'm not deputy president. Because I would not know what to explain to the people.
Okay.
So we are having a crisis of monumental proportions in terms of our health system. And I really feel for the people of Kenya. I don't know what will happen now that the private hospitals are withdrawn from the system and people are paying through their pay slip and they cannot access health care. What do? I was talking to some policemen today as I came from Nyeri, and they saw me on the road and they said, Afandi, we support you. We are complaining even more than ordinary Kenyans. We cannot access health care. The teachers are complaining. You know, the teachers had a good medical system with some hospitals. And a decision was made to remove the insurance so that it's given to some hospitals owned by that Asian called Jash. Today, teachers are going to hospital, they cannot access medical care. Everybody is crying. The whole country is in tears. And it's just 2 years down the line, you know. And I looked at, I saw after the AUC, I saw a fellow who works for the National Intelligence Service, an MCA from Nairobi here, called Alai. He wrote a big post trying to blame President Uhuru Kenyatta that he is the one who campaigned Raila Odinga at the AU.
Okay.
I want to tell those people of Ruto and ODM to leave Uhuru Kenyatta alone. Uhuru Kenyatta was president. His project did not go through. He conceded. He handed over power.
Yeah, right.
2 years down the line, you cannot keep on blaming him for every problem in Kenya.
Really?
Even when Raila Odinga does not succeed in AAU, you blame President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Mr. Gachagua,
President Uhuru Kenyatta left.
Let me reel you in. Back to, away from Uhuru Kenyatta, because we've talked about that. Let's talk about solutions. If Kenyans are to trust you with the leadership of this country, what would you do different?
First and foremost, Rogers, governance is about the people. The first thing you do if you want to govern well is to listen to the people and never assume them. Had we listened to the stakeholders in the health sector, we will not be in the hole we are in. The first thing we will do when we form government is to call the stakeholders and listen to them. And the people of Kenya, my brother, are very knowledgeable. We have an abundance of human resource in this country. People are extremely intelligent and very knowledgeable. But we have a government that listens to nobody. Nobody talked to people in the health sector. You need to talk to the doctors. You need to talk to the hospital owners. You need to talk to the paramedics. You need to talk to the nurses. You need to talk to the patients. You need to talk to the ordinary people. But I know that we could reform NHIF at a very small cost of less than 1 billion shillings and just improve on what was already working. You know, the Englishmen say, if it's working, don't fix it. Would have just taken NHIF the way it was.
So that's what you'll do?
Yeah, take NHIF from where it was, talk to everybody, talk to all the stakeholders, because they know they are the people in the medical world.
Then
they
what
know.
would you do about the proliferation of funds through NHIF? Because this was an issue, not just...
That is what we should have dealt with.
Okay.
You don't, if a leg has pus, you don't cut it away and throw it away and look for an artificial limb. You try to find why there is pus. So what we did is that we said because people are stealing from NHIF, we throw it out and bring a new system where you steal upfront. Because that is what is happening with SHA and SHIF. We are stealing upfront. 104 billion. That is stealing upfront. And this money for SHA is being taken to a bank that has been bought by the powers that be. Even money for the housing program is being taken to a bank. We'll be giving details soon.
You don't have those details now?
I have them, but I'll slowly. You know, we have to keep it. We can't give Kenyans everything every day. The money for the housing fund, because one, the Ministry of Housing has no capacity to absorb those funds. The PS was saying they have made 2 billion shillings. Why were we deducting people money from the payslip to keep it in the bank? It's very insensitive. We started a levy fund without an infrastructure to absorb the money. The Ministry of Housing, the State Department of Housing has no capacity to absorb those funds. And they cannot even let the National Housing Corporation, which has a proven track record of building houses, do it. This money, more than 100 billion that has been collected from workers and from payslip holders, there is a bank that the people in power bought.
Which bank?
There is a bank.
Yes.
There's a bank that the people in power bought.
Which bank?
And all that money has been put in that bank.
Which bank is
No,
this?
we'll ask what I'll do, because I want to do things the right way.
Yeah.
I'll get one of the members of parliament who works with me to ask a parliamentary question that must be answered. We would like to know where that money has been invested. Then you'll know that bank, and that bank was bought after we came into office. So it's about personal interest. Again, look at eCitizen, Rogers. When we came into office, the president called a meeting, and he wanted to know why eCitizen was in private hands. And he was very furious. And the National Treasury was there, ICTA was there, the CS, ICT was there with the PS, I was there, and he said, there's no way we can collect funds from government people, from people wanting services from government and give it to a private people. That eCitizen should be owned by the National Treasury. And there were several meetings. Later on, that matter died. I was not called for any other meeting. Later on, I came to learn that people in government had actually acquired shares from eCitizen, and immediately the government went overdrive in making sure that all government services are onboarded on eCitizen. As we speak today, the private people who own eCitizens are people within government, and they are milking billions every day. That is why there was a big push. It was done by another lawyer, it's called a deal. It's an Asian fellow. These are the guys who are doing all the deals in this country. He's the one who was able to blackmail the owners of the eCitizen and force them to cede certain shareholding to people in government, and he crafted it. What is happening now, why every government service was onboarded, is so that the new owners of eCitizen can make money. It's not for the country.
Can you name them?
It's not for the country.
Can you name them?
No, it's you now to do investigative journalism.
Okay,
I'm giving you the hints.
Okay.
I'm giving you the hints.
Yeah.
That from one, eCitizen is in private hands, and those are government people. And that is why the push for onboarding government services on eCitizen was done. And these are some of the problems that made me disagree with the president.
Okay.
Because this is pure corruption, it's pure theft. He called a meeting and said eCitizen cannot be in private hands. I only came to realize it was a strategy to get to know who owns eCitizen so that people can grab it.
Well noted. In a minute or so, because we're pressed of time, now that you said Parliament is captured, there's an ongoing debate about majority, minority. Is this a circus from your point of view?
It's a circus, doesn't matter. There is no distinction in majority and minority. They are one and the same thing. It doesn't matter. Ichongwa can exchange the seat with the Judet or the other way. It's still the same thing. They are birds of the same feather.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's one of the questions from our viewers. Yet another one. They say you're part and parcel of the government that a section of Kenyans are against. Looking at the issues Gen Z were fighting for, good governance, end of corruption, tribalism, and all that. Why would Kenyans trust you this time round, considering you misled them in 2022?
Well, when I misled them, when I went to government, I realized what I believed in is not what I got. The person I believed is a good leader, I found is not the case.
Okay.
I disagreed with him and he kicked me out of government. The very fact that I was kicked out of government for refusing to ills against the people of Kenya cleanses me before the people of Kenya.
Okay.
And I started talking when I was in office. I did not speak when I left office. When I called a press conference on the 26th of June in Mombasa, I talked against abduction and extrajudicial killing. I was still deputy president.
Can you name these abductors?
When
You
I
seem to know more than we do. Name these abductors. What building were they using? Because you drop hints
No. I said in that press conference, the abductions were being done by the National Intelligence Service. I said so.
What building?
The buildings are there.
Which one?
What I didn't want, there are some safe houses. One safe house is in Westlands by Nice. Another one is in Wiki. Another one is in Lavington. And there's a commercial building in town. I didn't want to mention it because it's a commercial building and it would ruin their businesses. But it's for you guys to do your investigations. But even Justin Muturi, when his son was abducted, Kindiki was taking me in circles. Kome was taking me in circles. Nurudin was taking me into circles. Amin was taking me in circles. He complained to me the president was out of town. I called all these people, they were also taking me into circles. Okay. And we did agree with him, he faces the president. And he faces the president, and he has the president. If somebody disappears in Kenya in police hands, you go to court and file what you call a habeas corpus. A habeas corpus is filed against the Attorney General to produce that person in court, dead or alive. So Muturi asked me, since I am the father of this young boy, I'm supposed to file a habeas corpus against the Attorney General. I'm the Attorney General. What happens? So I advised him to go and face the president. Mm-hmm. He faced the president. Yeah. The president called Nurdin Haji. The man was released. So it is clear who abducts people. The president knew who abducts people because he knew who to call. Whoever was called released the young man. So what other explanation do you want about it?
Fair point. Yeah. As we finalize, I'm still getting questions, and there are quite a couple, about you making claims during your engagements with people, with members of the Fourth Estate. Why should Kenyans trust you now? Yet you didn't speak sooner. At times, people point towards the 2023 protests where, is it up to 30 lives were lost, and you put the blame squarely on Raila Odinga then. This time around,
that is the information that I had. You know, my brother, for you to make an informed decision, yes, you need to sample, you need to experience, The first year in government, I trusted President William Ruto. When he told me the housing program is a good thing, I believed him. Until later on, I realized it's a business enterprise for creating opportunity for people in government to sell cement, to sell steel and mabati as proxies to companies that provide these things. And I disagreed with it because I did not have that prior information. E-Citizen, when we were onboarding those services, I believed it's a way of enhancing revenue collection. Only later to know that people in government had acquired E-Citizen.
Okay.
So people cannot say I did not speak then. Mm-hmm. But the minute I realized there's a problem, the first 1 year I played along because I was persuaded. President William is very persuasive. Until now, because I'm fair.